Alright, this is about the 5th time I've tried to do this video today. So, let's begin. Guys, welcome to my channel. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button where I can keep you up to date with my projects, talk to you guys about writing, and also talk about anything else that's going on in the writing world that I know of. Today, we're going to talk about Authortube, Booktube, and the whole controversy, drama, bullshit with that. I'll come out and say this right now. I don't know who started it, and I don't know why this is going on. This video is about my experience with it and what I've seen. And the first thing I have to say is there is a problem with Authortube/Booktube, and we need more people to address the problem instead of just shunning it or pushing it aside and not paying it attention, because that is a big giant problem. Now I know this is like the second video on my channel, but I can't keep sitting here for the last few months and just notice the common recurring things I keep seeing. I understand when we're doing educational videos about how to be a better writer or how to approach a project, you kind of have the same idea where it's just how to do this outline, how to tell the story this way, or how to use advice to your advantage when it comes to writing. But what I've noticed on the Authortube, Booktube, it's like everybody does the same exact video at the exact same time. So it's like, you need help with writing your manuscript. Person A does it, then person B, like an hour later, posts that, and then 2 hours later, person C does it. There's no difference in content there. Some people will put a little bit of a twist on it, but you're still vomiting up the same information that person A has already stated. And I want to say now, with my channel, I might not have the best advice. I think I said this in the first video too. I might not have the best advice to getting your book published or approaching a situation a certain way, but I have my own set of rules, I have my own set of styles that I follow. And when I say by rules, I'm not talking about, well, I just made this shit up off the top of my head. No, there's a lot of rules that you can follow. The only difference is you have to have some tendency of following them. I know a lot of people on Authortube and Booktube will actually say, hey, do this, and then you get their book and it's none of that shit. It's like they break their own rules. So when it comes to something like that, I usually stick to a certain formula, and it's not my fault, it's just how I got into writing. I was more of a screenplay writer, a script writer, so coming into doing writing, it's kind of just more, how do I direct a scene, or how do I construct a scene without putting that much detail into it, because I've never really done that much detail. There's a motorcycle going past because love living in my area. So when I'm writing, when I'm writing, I'm mostly focused on doing the dialogue and how to get the characters through the setting or environment. So that's kind of what I do, for example, and that's never going to really change because that's just how I approach a writing project. Most of the time, going back and cleaning up my drafts, I do add more detail in. I describe the world a little bit more. I describe the characters a little bit more. But it's just how I approach writing. But a lot of the times when you have Authortubers and Booktubers, or whatever we really consider them, they kind of tell you the exact same thing that another person has already told you. And it's kind of hard to help people in that sense, because we're really just telling people you need to follow this pattern or you will not succeed, and that doesn't help. And I could tell you from experience, following the pattern doesn't help, because there's always some rule that negates another rule because of something else. For example, I can't see fragmented sentences to save my life, but yet I know for a fact in dialogue people do speak in fragmented sentences. So a lot of the times when I'm writing dialogue, my beta readers or people that picked up my work just to read for a little bit, because sometimes I just let my friends read it, they find the dialogue to be a lot more interesting than the background or the environment, and that's kind of my fault. But at the same time, it's just where I'm really good at, like where are my strengths. So that's kind of the thing I can at least try to teach people, is how my working mechanics work versus the standard stuff. And it might push people away, it might scare people, but at the same time, that is what I know works for me, and it might work for you. I can't be 100% honest about it, because I don't even know. And a lot of these author-tubers are just kind of regurgitating the same thing over and over, and it's not helping the growth at all. It's just kind of like everybody's getting stagnant on information. The other thing is the diversity part really pisses me off. And I know I'm a white guy, but I'm sick and tired of seeing the young mid-20s woman, American, white, who's making a young adult sci-fi fantasy novel. I'm so sick and tired of seeing those groups. I would love to see, and I've noticed the more I was digging, I was noticing a lot of minority people that are having a problem in Authortube. There was a couple of black people that have some interesting stories that I would like to actually sit down and talk with them about. There's a couple of Hispanics that are it's kind of disappointing to even see the minority groups get shunned, because they also have great ideas, and it's not just the whole young adult sci-fi fantasy or young adult romance fantasy. Nothing along the lines like that. We're not getting another Hunger Games or another Twilight from some of these people, which has me more intrigued to check out their book versus what Authortube's offering, or Booktube, or like the standard stuff that's been around in this inclusion group. Another thing is I hate the idea that people say, oh, well, we're very friendly, we're very welcoming. When are you doing that? Because I swear, for the longest time, if I've had my Twitter, I can't seem to get into a writing community. Now, lately, as of December 1st, I've been able to group up with a bunch of young to old writers that have been trying to get into a community. So a lot of the times when they're tweeting about a question or need advice, I'll hop in and say something. But that's about as much of a community I've been getting into. A lot of people I've noticed that have a community, it's basically who's going to buy my book? Anyone going to buy my book? You guys going to support me on Patreon to buy my book? Because, But it's like, you're trying to get help where you can, and it's like, what do? How do you get from where, like, especially right now, how do I go from 0 subscribers, which I know, to having at least a decent audience to talk to about writing, talk to them about my books, help do self-publishing or even promotion on my books? Because it's like, they kind of like the Authortube, Booktube people live in their own cloud, and I understand why they have so many people and why they're on top. They've done a great job at self-promotion or getting their stuff together for their business to run, and I feel that doesn't help. And what bothers me the most is, like, even though I don't have much writing on the internet, which could be its own separate video, I still feel that there are people that are probably in the same position where they want to be heard, but they're being silenced. And I feel like the black sheep of the writing community, and it really hurts me because I haven't done anything to even remotely be shunned or silenced at all. There are other people that probably feel the exact same way. I won't even bring in the fact that because I'm a guy, I could be getting shunned for it, because there are bigger problems going on besides just me being a guy. There are minorities that have decent books that deserve the spotlight, or at least deserve some attention, but it's all the same cookie cutter information. It just hurts. So I wanted to hear you guys' opinion on Authortube, Booktube, and the whole Booktube drama stuff, because I've about had it. I really have. I've been struggling with trying to build a community for quite some time. I've been done with the first book over, I want to say, God, 2, maybe 3 years now, and it's sitting at the stage to get published. And I don't know what to do with the book besides get it published and get it out the door. The second one has been done for about, I think, a year, if I can recall. I think it's been about a year. That one's been done for about a year, and I haven't touched it because I'm not ready to dive in and change the draft, or even update it, or even just go in and look and see what's wrong with it, because I'm more focused on getting the first one out the door, while at the same time finishing it so I can be done with the whole series, because it is a trilogy, and with this trilogy I am putting so much effort into it that I might have a problem. And my problem is I don't get sleep. My anxiety is extremely high because I don't know what to do with this series. It's not done. The trilogy itself will be done, but I mean, in general, there are other things I would like to do, but I don't know because there isn't a community to talk to me about it or show interest in it, because I don't know what to do with it. I have other projects on hold that I don't really want to work on because I'm dedicating so much time into the trilogy that I want to make sure I get this right. And I understand it's technically my first published book, or my first series to be published, but I'm not going to shelve this one because I know, even though it's a crazy sci-fi thriller, I know it could work. I know it could work because of the idea that I know it can work because I have decent dialogue in there. I know the plot can get cleaned up a bit. This is currently as I'm doing the draft, but I have so much inspiration in it, and I have so much passion in it. I know it can work, and shelving it would be such a waste of my time because I've put in so much of it that it would really ruin me. Because going into the other projects, I don't have that much passion about it. Because with other projects, it's just me focused on a couple old work ideas I've had that I want to actually try to make into a book. And then, of course, stuff that I pondered for an idea. But I really want to know from you guys, what's your thoughts on the Authortube situation? What questions do you guys want me to answer, or is there anything you guys want to know? Like, I'm trying to be very open with the community about stuff because I'm trying to get my foot in the door, but at the same time I'm getting pushed back or silenced, and I don't know what to do. So just tell me in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Also, I know this is different from the first video, because in the first video I was actually in my nice comfortable chair, and now I'm kind of just sitting at my desk. Tell me if you guys would rather do this setup or do that setup, because if so, I'll continue fixing that area and I'll make it look nice, and we can do something more. I'm also doing this on my webcam and using my computer to record because I'm actually having a problem with my computer. Well, it's not really a problem. The problem is I have an old SD card, the big giant ones instead of the micro SDs, and with technology evolving, I can't get an SD card into my computer. So my camera has an SD card, my external microphone has an SD card, So I have to get those switched over to a micro SD card so I can actually move from the micro SD card over to the flash drive to get them edited on the computer, in which I'm making these videos extremely quickly because I don't know how much effort I can put into doing the editing. I'm not one of those people that like to do the jump cut talking. I like to just spew out my words, but I know I could still do like at least the thumbnail and some white balancing. So I thank you guys for checking out the channel. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I gotta work on an intro. I don't know what to say besides goodbye.